All right, what's up, guys? Ben here, Twig Cycles. We finally got our hands on a Kawasaki KRX 1000 four-seater, which I've been waiting to see one of these. I wanted to see just exactly how ginormous this machine was. But this is the KRX 1000 four-seater ES, which means it's got the Fox live valve shocks. So we're gonna dive into this thing, check it out a little bit closer, and see what this thing's all about. I'm gonna put Honda on the spot here for just a minute. The Talon 1000 live valve does not respond as well as what this thing does, 110%. And if you get the chance to drive one of these and compare it to the Talon 1000 live valve, I don't mean to put them on the spot. We sell Honda, it's a great product. I'm just saying, as far as Japanese side-by-sides go, this is one of the best suspensions I've driven in a side-by-side. From Kawasaki, Honda, Yamaha. Suzuki doesn't have any side-by-sides, but yeah. All right, guys, so we have a 2023 Kawasaki KRX 1000 four-seater special edition model. Some of the features that you see on this machine came specifically equipped to the special edition, such as the winch that you see right up front. This particular color scheme is only available on the special edition, and also the roof. And there's also some pretty cool suspension settings, which I'll show you here in just a minute. But obviously that is a Warn 4,500 pound VRX winch. So 4,500 pound VRX winch from Warn Industries. Nice roof on this to kind of keep you out of the sun a little bit. So you can kind of, as far as windshields go, you have your choice of whatever kind of windshield, if you want to do a half windshield or a full windshield or a vented windshield. You want to go the Kawasaki OEM way, if you want to go aftermarket way, you can do that. You have some options there. But this thing is really neat. I was kind of dreading how big this machine was actually going to be. Obviously the KRX 1000s are some of the most spacious side-by-sides on the market. This has, like, if you're 6'4", 6'5", and you're broad-shouldered, the KRX 1000 is definitely the side-by-side you need to be checking out. It has by far way more space than any other side-by-side I've ever been in on the market. As far as some of the individual specs on this machine, so all the details, this is a 68-inch wide machine. And if you're concerned about space, if you're driving a Honda Talon 1000R right now, this is just as wide as what a Talon 1000R is. It's 68 inches wide. Most of your side-by-sides are right around 64. So, you know, 68 is not a huge jump up. This also, I'll tell you, has a sharper turning radius than what the Honda Talons do. I don't care what numbers are out there. I don't care what specs or details are out there on the forums or on their web pages. I can tell you this has a much sharper turning radius from experience than what the Talons do. So 68 inches wide, this is giving you 14.5 inches worth of ground clearance, 14.4 to be exact. And one of the things I like about this, it is continuously 14.5 inches worth of ground clearance from the front end to the back end. Some machines, I guess for attitude, they seem to kind of slope down in the front a little bit. So you have more ground clearance in the rear end than you do in the front. So this is all 14.5 inches worth of ground clearance. You can see it's continuous. There's nothing hanging down. And they also did a great job putting these long travel suspension on these things to add to that ground clearance. You can see they're not like a rainbow A-arm or, you know, like the high clearance A-arms from Polaris or anything like that, but they do have you know, that long travel suspension where it kind of bows out at least yay far. You can kind of see, just helps with ground clearance, keeps everything nice and protected and stuff like that. This does have a 10.6 gallon fuel tank. And as far as horsepower goes, because I know you're going to ask about horsepower, according to Kawasaki, I checked the title work before I went and did this video. It's 114 horsepower on this machine, 114 horsepower. Most of your naturally aspirated 1000s out there are putting anywhere maybe 100, 105, 110 horsepower. So this is rated 114, which I think is decent for this particular unit. So 114 horsepower, 68 inches wide, 14.5 inches worth of ground clearance, has a 10.6 gallon fuel tank. Now, as far as the special edition goes, they do have 2 or 3 different color schemes available. This is particularly my favorite, nice kind of stealthy gunmetal gray with the gold rims there. Sitting on 31-inch Maxxis carnivore tires, 31-inch Maxxis carnivore tires. The special edition, of course, all the Kawasaki KRX 1000s come with the LED headlights you can see. I would like to see Kawasaki throw a factory bumper on these, but I'm not going to complain too much. The special edition gives you the roof, the 4,500-pound Warn VRX winch up there. And then with this also being the ES, you get the Fox live valve shocks, which is pretty neat. So that's going to give you the option to hop into the cab here. You actually have a suspension setting knob right here. So this is your winch. This is your full power, low power. This is your two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, and differential lock. This is going to be your display, so your display buttons. There's no buttons up on this machine at all, so I can't, or up on the display, I can't touch any part of the screen. I would like to maybe see that in the future be a touch screen, just kind of make things a little bit easier to navigate a little bit. But as far as navigating your screen, you have basically an up arrow, down arrow, and then a select and return button. So it's a little bit like playing an old Game Boy. So you have return, takes you back to your main screen. You have up, down, vehicle information. You can select, takes you into that. Hit your return button, you go up, there's your suspension monitor. I can hit select, it goes into your suspension, shows you what suspension setting you're on right now, which you can see I got it set on firm. You can also see that right there on the knob. So this is really cool. One thing I really want to note, and you're going to get tired of me saying this by far is one of the best suspension setups I've seen in a Japanese side-by-side, by far. I like getting in a machine and a motorcycle. If it's going to have power modes, I want to see a difference from rain mode, sport mode, road mode. As far as your maps and stuff like that go, same thing with suspension. If you're going to go from firm to soft, I want to be able to tell a difference, because obviously the scenarios are all different for depending on where you're riding, and the ability to change your suspension settings on the fly is important. And number two, obviously, if you're going to have those suspension settings, it's important that you can tell a difference based on the scenario that you're riding in. So driving this machine around in firm mode, you can tell it firms up all four shocks. You can see, you can monitor that right here on the display. And then if I boost it down into soft, actually sitting still, you can kind of feel the machine lower a little bit, but you can tell a huge difference when you're driving this and you go from firm, normal to soft. You can tell a huge difference on how this thing handles. You can tell a huge difference. It's incredible. So that's basically your suspension setup. You can monitor that there on the nice, beautiful TFT display. Obviously, you can see you're in two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, differential lock. You got your fuel gauge right there. It's going to tell you what gear you're in here at the top, and if you're in full power or low power, anything like that. And you got some other indicators here on the left and right-hand side. And then over here, as I mentioned, this has LED headlights already. So there's your off, low, and high beam for your headlights. And then scooting over here, again, we have our up arrow, down arrow, select and return. This is your two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, differential lock, your full power, low power, suspension settings, and then this here is your winch control. This also has the Hiphonics Kawasaki system in this. So nice radio setup in this. You can go in there and kind of customize the equalizer. You can Bluetooth. The Bluetooth is actually super simple. You basically put your source on Bluetooth, and you can kind of, well, I'll show you here. So there's your Bluetooth. Basically, if I had my phone set to Bluetooth right now, it would pull the Hiphonics system up on my phone, and it's super simple to connect. It's not confusing or anything like that. And that's basically the inside of the cab here. You do have an e-brake right there. You get high, low, neutral, and reverse. So if you're doing any kind of low speed maneuvering, you obviously want to keep it in low. If you're ramming and jamming down the trails, you put it up there in high. Then over here, you get your glove box, of course, so you got plenty of space there if you ever need that. Actually, on the right-hand side, you can use that probably as a cup holder, but that's actually intended for, not too many people know this, that's intended for a fire extinguisher. Some of the trails that you're riding on require that your machine has a fire extinguisher on it. So that's actually what that little hole's there for. That's why there's not one on this side here. But you do have cup holders right here. So there's cup holders right there, and then you also have some there in the back for your passengers. I'm gonna hop into the back seat here. This has just as much space in the back seat as it does in the front. So if you got a tall family, if everybody in your family is tall and broad-shouldered, this is definitely the machine that you want to be checking out. This has way more space than any side-by-side I've ever driven. I'm roughly 230, 225. I'd say I got pretty broad shoulders. I work out enough, right? Like I say, about 6'1", 6'2", and this has way more headroom, way more space in between rider and passenger. So you're not bumping elbows or bumping shoulders or anything like that. You're also not eating your knees either. You got plenty of clearance here from where you're sitting to where your feet go. I'm just going to work my way here to the back end of the machine. I'm going to quit talking, let you guys just kind of make your own evaluations here. Nice space up here if you guys want to throw a cooler or whatever. Up here, they do also have the Kawasaki quote-unquote tailgate that you can put back here. It doesn't open like a tailgate, it just slides down in these rivets here. You got some D-rings, tie-down points there if you ever need those. I'm going to back up here and show you. Again, this has 14.5 inches worth of ground clearance. A nice tall setup. You got plenty of ground clearance on this thing. Again, we got the Fox live valve shocks on this bad boy. Great suspension setup. Best suspension setup, I think, on the Japanese market. And kind of working our way around here to the right-hand side. Again, Maxxis Carnivore 31-inch tires with the special edition rims there. Gold rims, pretty cool. Really cool, actually. I really like those rims. That was a nice addition. Like I say, I think if I had to really be super duper picky, I'd like to see a front bumper added to these from the factory, but you know, I'm not going to be super picky. At least that gives you the option. Same thing with the windshield. You can kind of pick and choose what style you want. You know, if you want a different bumper than maybe what they offer from Kawasaki, or if you want a different windshield than what they offer OEM, you know, you can go that route if you like. So yeah, great machine. I'm a huge fan of it. This has way more space than any other side-by-side I've ever driven. So like I say, if you and the family, if you're broad-shouldered, if you're tall, this is definitely the machine you need to be checking out. This is sitting at 14.5 inches worth of ground clearance, 68 inches wide, 10.6 gallon fuel tank, about 114 horsepower that Parallel Twin 1000 is putting out. Again, this is a 23 Kawasaki KRX 1000 4-seater special edition. And obviously part of that special edition, you get that awesome suspension setup, which you can change on the fly. All the Kawasaki KRX 1000s give you 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive differential lock. Warn 4,500 pound winch on the front, LED headlights. Comes with the roof from the factory. Not all of them do, that's just part of the special edition package. And that's pretty much a wrap up on this machine. I would like to take this out on the trails and really see how it handles. I've had the Kawasaki's out on the trails before, not this particular one, but I know there's all kinds of videos out there. You can watch the guys taking them through trails and out in the dunes and stuff like that, so that's pretty cool. More so, I just wanted to do this as kind of like an informative video so you guys can kind of see this thing up close and get an idea. You know, if you got to place an order for one of these and wait for it to come in and hit your dealership locally, that's why I do these videos, so you guys can kind of see and pick and choose and, you know, see everything kind of up close and personal and stuff like that. So it has been a half hour. I've been out of the showroom, so I'm going to quit talking. I should probably get back to work here, quit video and everything. But if you guys have any questions, again, you know me, my name's Ben. Give me a shout. My phone number is 301-739-2773. You can always shoot me an email, or you can leave your questions in the comment section below. Appreciate you guys for taking the time to watch the videos. Please like and subscribe, and I will catch you later. Thanks for watching.